Hey, we are definitely live now.
Oh, we doing this live? We ain't not even taping this
Nah,
time. Huh?
this straight live. Shit.
Live,
Yeah,
homie. What you sipping on over there?
This
everybody sipping shit.
Crown Peach.
You
If I'd have
know,
known it was going live, I'd have freshened up before I came.
like Chick-fil-A, huh?
He said I would have freshened up.
I'm talking about freshen a drink up. It'd have been like right here.
Oh, I just filled mine up.
Yeah, I'd have been toe up. So, this first thing ain't really, it's kind of just my opinion to me, but it's about this good old, everybody been looking at it, this good old Chauvin, however you say his name, talking about just the verdict. Well, he got pretty much guilty all the way down. Everybody said he guilty. Just wondering, what's y'all view on it? Like, what's your reaction to it? I should say, even though he hasn't gotten sentenced yet, but he did get the guilty all down, which in my eyes was obvious. But of course, we had to go through this. But
And not to mention a whole summer worth of protests.
yeah, took the whole world to protest and shit. But I don't know, like what. I mean, I could be on it. Like my whole thing was, I saw like it was all over the place. Everybody, NBA play, all these players are saying stuff, people saying stuff. I had very mixed emotion about it because, in a way, it was like I felt it was obvious that he was guilty, but then it was like, should I? I couldn't be happy about it because it was almost insulting in a way that it had to go through all this for this dude to get convicted. Like I feel like if this was anybody else, what they always say is the open and shut case. That old Dave Chappelle stuff, and he sprinkle a little coke on him. I said, this is an open and shut case, dog. Like we just watched this man kill this man on video. I mean,
Hands in his pockets like he ain't getting no fucks.
yeah, it's almost like if the dude would have got off. I heard it best. One guy, I listened to all these people talking. One guy, there's always somebody that says something that sticks. And one guy said something like, if this dude would have got off, then what is justice? Like what can you really have a limit of what justice is? Like if he would have got off after doing that to that man, like what could you legit say is justice anymore? Like what's guilty, what's innocent? Because if that's innocent, like if he would have got off and that is considered innocent, so what the hell is guilty nowadays? Like you can talk yourself out of anything.
See, the thing is I'm honestly surprised that they convicted him on all counts, especially the murder counts. I thought that I knew they would convict him of something, but I really thought it was going to be the manslaughter, something they could give him 2 years for and he'd be out. And so I'm surprised they convicted him on the 2 murder charges. That being said, it's really sad that I'm surprised he was convicted because it was a pretty open and shut case. But I mean, Rodney King was a pretty open and shut case. And I mean, they showed, I don't understand how you don't look at that as excessive force, but all 4 of them jokers walked.
Well, you saw it, but you heard the statistics on the Rodney King. They said after that happened, the riots that happened afterwards, it cost LA like I think they said close to like $1 billion. All the damage and everything they did, and
Well,
they destroyed.
That was $1 billion back in 1992.
Yeah, that's back. Yeah, we talking about the 90s. That cost them. If I'm not mistaken, I think they said that a total now costing the city about $1 billion to fix up everything that got destroyed. I mean, but that's what happened. So imagine what would have happened today if this fool would have got off. And everybody saw this dude kill somebody.
Oh, they definitely were accounting for that. They're like, I know if y'all let this man walk, we're gonna have some rebuilding to do.
And that's what I've been hating because you get a lot of these some channels where the people, you know how it is, you got your different sides of the aisle as they put it. But they were almost saying, well, they had to say he was guilty because they were like he had to be guilty or they would have destroyed or
Well, they had to say he was guilty because it's on video.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
There's a video of you standing on this dude's neck. Like, I don't know. The whole thing made me really question. And your next topic, I'll kind of get into that more, but made me question why it's so hard to hold police officers accountable, or law enforcement in general accountable, for actions when they seem pretty obvious. So I've been kind of researching that and trying to come to a conclusion.
That's something that me and my wife talk about a lot. And, she always makes the point that, especially with these police officer killings and, killing Black people, that's how the system is designed to work. The system is designed for white people. It's made by white people for white people. It was never intended for Black people or Hispanics or Asians or anybody else to be equal to white people.
The white FUBU, for us, by us.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, the system is working exactly how it was intended to work.
I've been looking at because, like I said, when I reach conclusions on stuff, I look at both sides. Like, I'll look at your progressive sites, I'll look at the little Republican sites, I'll look at all this stuff. Some of this stuff that come out of these people's mouths is just disgusting, man. And for people to follow the stuff they say, I mean, I agree that media has influence on stuff, but when do we hold people accountable for using their own damn ears and understanding what they're hearing? Like, just because your favorite host says something ignorant, I hope these people aren't agreeing with that because their host said it. Like, dumbass, what's that Tucker guy? Oh my God.
Yeah.
If I ever see him in the street, I'm gonna just hit him with a rock from a distance because I know he'll sue me.
That's what kills me about Republicans too. They so quick to call like liberals and Democrats sheep to the liberal media. Do you actually listen to what it is that you're regurgitating? Like, what you take in and you follow is gospel, and you want to call us sheep?
That was a comment. The guy said there's no scenario where we will feel comfortable in the justice system. So, like, that when he said that, this is one of the things where I hit pause, and that because it was in my brain, and that makes a lot of sense. Where you could literally say there's no scenario where we feel comfortable. Like, every time there's something that we think is obvious, it still has to go through all this to become a possibility that is convictable. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can see somebody, we can literally see a dude kill somebody on TV, and it still took a year for the trial and all these weeks for this dude to get a guilty thing, and still have people push back on it. Like,
So
there's no niche in the government. There's no niche in justice where a Black person can just be comfortable. Like, yeah, this cut dry, this is going to be how it is. Like, it's just not like that at all. It's nothing.
No, like I said, it's not made for, police got qualified immunity. They got police unions that are going to keep bad cops. I mean, and so I'm one of the people that unpopular opinion sometimes is that, yes, there's bad cops, but all these cops that are good cops, when you let bad cops be bad cops, are you really a good cop? I'm one of them type people. So, I get a lot of, pushback and blowback when I call that out on social media or whatever. But
I just feel like there's no standard. We all come from the military. There's a standard. You can't just walk in and say, "Hey, I want to join the military." I mean, unless it's the Army, they'll let anybody in there. But you can't just. I'm just messing with you. I know, but you can't just walk up and say, "I want to do this" or "I want to do that." There's a process. You have to test into certain jobs. You have to have an aptitude to do certain jobs, and then you have to go through training. And then during that training, you have to excel. Mm-hmm. You can't just show up and say, "I want to do this." Mm-hmm. And being a cop, you can literally just show up and say, "I want to be a cop."
Yeah, and go
to their little boot course, and now you're a cop. Yeah. Now you get to carry around a gun, and like I'm fired up about the next topic, so I'm just gonna like leave that alone. But like, yeah, there's no standard. So if you had a strict standard where wearing a badge and actually carrying the gun and all that stuff meant something, like there was a process of qualifying to do that, I mean, half these people wouldn't be cops because you don't meet the criteria of actually being one.
But see, that's also part of the process is they let just about anybody be in there. So you got a lot of weak-minded people who will fall in line with the culture, who won't buck the system. They won't, they're especially these, small town localized police forces. They're not gonna. All they're gonna do is police the same way that the person that was sitting in the chair before them did it and taught them how to do it, and that's a system that works directly against Black people. Even if they're
in general,
yeah, exactly, progress in general. Even if they're not a bad human, the standards and practices that are in place that they've been taught, that their training has come from, it falls in line with Black people are violent. You need to fear for your life whenever you're in a situation with angry Black people, or not even angry, they can be scared. And because they're not, super calm and chill, and then they're a threat. And hell, even if they are calm, they're still a threat.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one when the man was a lieutenant in a uniform. He was calm as hell. The cops were the one that was outrageous.
Yeah, until he got hit with mace.
Yeah, it was ace though, I mean, for a traffic violation.
That's just straight ignorance. I mean, if you doing that to a guy in uniform,
yeah.
Like there's only a few uniforms that mean more than yours, and that's one of them.
And then that's when I got my favorite, that quote I heard from Shannon Sharp, where he was like, "You see this man in uniform, and we know what the real uniform is, and it's something you can't get rid of, and that's your skin." He's like, "No matter, it didn't matter. The man was in a full uniform. He was Black, so we got to hands out the window. Hey, but we need you to open the door. Get your seatbelt off." You told me to put my hands out the window, dog. Can y'all tell me what you stopped me for? And they just yelling the whole time, yelling.
Shut up! Take your seatbelt off and put your hands out the door at the same time.
For a tag. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. And then the tag was there. It wasn't even like a real stop.
Like I was about to say, it wasn't even a real violation, was it?
No, because he was like, "Well, we couldn't see his temp tag." You do know that that's how they come from the dealership when you buy one new. They don't have tags on them. They come with a temp tag.
And they were like, I think he had it in the window or something. And he ended up getting off.
Also legal.
Yeah, basically.
It's not like I'm guarantee he ain't the only one driving around out there with a temp tag in the window instead of on the whatever.
But I just so another thing that was brought to my attention, and once again, this is me just flipping through YouTube, listening about this trial. I didn't know all his charges were like what they call concurrent or something. So like
they served them at the same time.
Yeah, I was looking at them thinking there were 3 separate. So like if he were to get the max of each one, this mug had like 75 years. When in reality, the main charge was a 2nd degree accidental whatever, and it was
2nd and 3rd degree murder. Both come with 40-year maxes, I think.
So they said with him not having a record, and if the judge, whatever sentence the judge gives him, he might only have to serve like 2/3 of it. So
I think the minimum, I think it was like 15 to 40, was it?
It was some. Well, the one that had the longest time on it was a 40. So like if they're concurrent, it don't matter. It's just whoever got the longest. So say he got the 40, he might only have to do. Say he got the full 40, he'd have to do 2/3 of it.
Yeah, which would be like not even 30 years.
Yeah, I mean that's like
25 years, something like that.
Yeah, and that's if he got the 40. So another thing they scared with the judge was the judge made a comment because they tried to bring up
Maxine Waters.
Yeah, and he was like, well, you can appeal. And from a judge standpoint, we're like, why are you even talking about that, dog? Like, he was like, yeah, I can't make it a mistrial. Like, I mean, I was like, dude, I said, she ain't even from your state. Like, what she's saying has no bearing over this trial at all. I think she's from like California or something. That's what she's over. She ain't got nothing to do with Minnesota. So I'm like, her being out there, just pretty much saying what everybody else saying. Like, y'all need to convict this dude.
And they act like she was the president, calling people to stop the democratic process or something.
Yeah. The bias in what we look at stuff is, I mean, not us, but the way things are looked at, it just gets a little bit ridiculous.
But see, that the fact that he pointed that out right there makes me worry about sentencing.
That's what everybody was saying. Like him even making that point. Like now you got 8 weeks to figure out a way to weasel this guy out of some years or something. Then he ain't gonna be with general population anyway. He probably gonna be in some,
which is protective custody, because those COs ain't gonna do nothing but sneaking contraband, and they probably have a TV in his what do they call that? Isolations.
Still? I was like,
solitary
confinement. That's what I was trying to think of. They probably have like a 40-inch TV in his cell after them damn COs get done hooking him up.
This one got TV. So let's go to this next one. The next one I've had some a little beef online with a couple people on this one. It's I think her name is Ma'Khia Bryant.
Yeah.
Something like that. She so it's hard for me to, with me, I saw somebody put a post up, a guy on my Facebook, and he was like, I agree. Well, you can't say something about, pretty much he understood why the guy shot her. So I looked at the video. I looked at this video like 2-3 times. Split second, I don't agree with. There wasn't no split second, nothing. My man got out the car. They were fighting in front of him. They fell at his feet. She got back up, and then it got in this position where she had a knife in her hand, and the girl she was fighting. So I'm on the side of, so it was one of the things where I think I was against the Facebook post, because I'm just like, why do we automatically think it's cool for somebody to shoot someone? I was like, cops literally have on their own belt, they have like an escalation of violence. They got the little stick, they got the mace, they got the taser, they got handcuffs, then they got the gun. These motherfuckers just get to the gun. I'm like, dude, when you first got out the car as a police officer and you see that situation, I think we all was in the military. Did all y'all got pepper spray before? Did y'all have to do that when y'all got in? I know I had to.
Yeah, we got gas. We got CS gas.
We got gas in boot camp, and I got pepper spray in my command.
We ain't got no pepper spray.
Oh, yeah, we got pepper spray and had to fight the red man.
Yeah, you had to go through that whole little course or whatever as you were pepper spraying. But the only thing I remember about pepper spray is as soon as that thing get in your area, there ain't no more. I don't care what you're doing. I'm talking about, I feel like pepper spray almost better than the taser. When pepper spray touch you, everything you was doing is an afterthought. It's time for you to try to get this stuff out of your face. You can't even see what's going on.
Can't see, you can't. I mean, senses is just overloaded.
Yeah, it's
choking.
Short. And I'm just like, my man, like, why? I mean, I get that it happened quickly, but when they just try pepper spray first. I mean, but I can't say. First of all, I think when he took 3 to 4 shots, that in his mindset he was trying to kill her. You don't take 3 shots at a torso and think somebody's gonna live.
I'm gonna tell you like this, Chris. Mm-hmm. Police officers will never shoot to disable somebody. They are only going to shoot to kill.
And nor should they. I'll say that, not in defense of anybody, but nor should they. If you shoot your firearm, it should be to disable a threat.
So my thing is, if you're going to the extent of pulling a firearm with those mindsets, then you're saying in this situation, there's nothing else I can do. The only thing I can do is kill this woman. I can't disable her in any kind of way. I got all this gear on. I can't put myself in the situation. I can't use the club. I can't tase. I can't. Everybody was talking about he wasn't close enough to tase. Are we looking at this distance right here? That's within range.
7 to 10 yards.
Yeah, pepper spray. That thing shoot like a damn stream. That's within range. I mean, the only thing I think that he probably couldn't have done getting out the vehicle was hit her with the stick or whatever, hit him in the knee, joint, whatever they do. But you could have used one of your disabling things before just going to. Because my thing is, if it's just get out the car to kill, then it's definitely not consistent with all the. There's people that attack cops and they step back and try to de-escalate. And when I say people, I'm talking about, of course, not black people. But if you get a black person that's fighting someone else, and she got the knife. I get the knife. That's why this isn't. I'm not 100% on. I'm against him shooting, but I'm just like, dude, give a benefit of a doubt. Like, try something else for once. Why is it always just I got to kill somebody? That's the only thing that we could be in this situation is kill her. I just don't agree with that. And when I saw that post, it pissed me off, and I immediately sent a message because I just didn't. It was at the time that I just saw it like 3 times, and of course you got we'll talk about the other shit going on, but I mean, it's all this overload of all these cops shooting people. And I'm like, God dang, dog, like you shoot. I mean, it's always just somebody getting shot. It's getting on my damn nerves now, dog.
So I'm going to tell you, ain't nothing going to happen to this cop. He ain't going to get fired. He ain't going to get arrested. Like I said, he ain't going to get fired. He's going to be on desk duty for about a week. And then he's going to be right back out there. Because by the letter of the law, he was perfectly justified by the letter of the law, not by anybody's sense. But he was justified in killing her because she was coming. She not only came at one person with a knife and tried to stab one person, she came at 2 different people with a knife and tried to stab both of them. And, so he, by law, was justified in shooting her. But
do y'all know the whole story of this stuff? Like, do you know the whole setup?
The one that called the one that got shot is the one that called the police because those 2 girls came to her house and tried to fight her. And I think they're older than her, like they're grown, and she wasn't number
by itself. And like I said, I can't put that on the cop. But now that we know that, and you see her with a weapon, is it not more what we're thinking it should have been self-defense? They came to her house. They're attacking.
And I don't try and defend this at all, but if you thinking about real objectively looking at this, the police officer pulled up and he don't know which one of them called the cops. Mm-hmm. He has no idea which one of those ladies called the cops. All 3 of them are black. He just knows a black female called the cops. And he sees one of them. He sees a black female coming at 2 other black females with a knife. So in that instance, being, if you're being perfectly objective about it, he don't know which one called the cops. But I think this is, to your point, Chris, this should be the poster child case of the difference between how cops handle situations with white suspects and how they handle situations with black suspects. And there's a study that Texas A&M did that shows that when white police officers are in black neighborhoods, they're like 5 times more likely to use force when handling the suspects. When white cops are in white neighborhoods, they're much, the scenarios are a lot lower of them, using force and especially using deadly force. And I'll look for that study and I'll put it in the chat so that other folks can
add to this at the very end. Like after all this, when they were waiting, they had the cops standing on the side talking about Blue Lives Matter. So you just killed this girl. Everybody was around the scene, and then you got cops yelling "Blue Lives Matter."
That motherfucker needs to be disciplined. He might be suspended, but he ain't gonna be fired either.
But where does that even go into this situation, though? Where was the cop in any kind of? If you say Blue Lives Matter, that means it must have been a threat toward.
That's just something that they're gonna say. I mean, they're gonna say because it's like, oh, Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter. You know, it's this big.
Nothing to do with the situation.
It doesn't. It's not relevant. This is my issue.
Yeah,
and this has been my continual issue with law enforcement, and it's lack of training. And there's so many things that scream lack of training in this video. It's unreal, especially from a firearm standpoint. But when you sent me the video today, I watched it, and I thought, okay, so the biggest thing that stands out to me is when you're in a high stress environment, your performance is never going to elevate. You're always going to default to your highest level of training. So if you've got shitty training, that's what you're going to default to. So I thought, okay, what's this dude's training, and how is it affecting what he's doing right here? So I looked up their law enforcement shooter course. So what they get trained on, and I know cops don't shoot a lot, which blows my mind that you can carry around a gun for a living and shoot it 3 times a year. That absolutely blows my mind. But I looked up the shooter course, in particular, what they do between 7 to 10 yards. And this is about 7 to 10 yards from the officer to the car. 7 to 10 yards, draw from your holster, fire 4 rounds in succession, center mass at a target. 4 rounds. And that's what he did. When I went back to the video, it gave me the chills, because I was like, dang, the dude just did he didn't hesitate. He shot exactly 4 rounds. He didn't shot 2 rounds and stop. He shot 4 rounds. And that's what he's been trained to do. So you've got this guy who is literally from police boot camp with that level of training, who's showing up to highly stressful and combative situations as the solution. And he can't be. So he shows up, and instead of trying to de-escalate the situation or using his non-lethal stuff, he just does exactly what he's been trained to do, draws a weapon, fires 4 times. If you notice, after he fired the weapon, okay, the threat is down. 1 shot would have done it. He shot 4 times. The threat is down. He still hasn't put his gun up. There's no other threats. He's got a loaded firearm that's hot, and he proceeds to flag. And if you don't know what flag means, it means point your barrel at something that you don't intend to shoot. He flags the civilians that are around, and then he flags his own partners who are rendering aid to the woman that he just shot.
Did you hear him?
In the military, we call that muzzle discipline. He's pointing his weapon at he's flagging his own officers.
Yeah.
That lets you know that this dude his training, his level of expertise is a joke. He shouldn't even be there. If he doesn't know that after you don't point your weapon at your partner when it's loaded and you got your finger on the trigger, if he doesn't know that, he shouldn't be carrying a weapon. And he damn sure shouldn't be responding to escalated domestic violence calls.
Yeah.
In the military, that we have things called training jackets. Before you do any job, and you guys know this, you sign off on every single thing, every single part of that job, every single thing that you're going to be doing. You've already signed off on it. This is how you do it. These are the threats. If you're standing watch and you're carrying an M9 or a shotgun and the M4, you have done so many calls to say when you're authorized to use lethal force, what your rules
of engagement,
what procedures you need to take if someone were to come in and try to get into. We were at ASW. We had to stand watch over classified information. Somebody tries to come in here. These are the steps that you do before you're authorized to use lethal force. The reason that they did that is for two reasons. The first reason is so that you know what you're doing. The second reason is so they can hold you accountable if you do it wrong. You're trained, and you do this training over and over and over and over and over, which holds you accountable. Cops don't get trained. No. They don't do training.
Not for that.
Yeah.
You don't know what the hell he's doing. He has no conflict resolution. He has no training whatsoever, and therefore, when he does something like this, you can't hold him accountable.
You know, and not forget, but you know, even something that's not even conflict resolution. He has no concept of escalation of force. Like, it's straight to deadly force. There's no in between. There's no,
Not to mention, look around him. You're in a residential area.
He just busted off 4 shots. 3 hit her, but where did that one go?
Look at the car that's sitting there. Can you tell if there's like a car seat in there, or if there's kids sitting in the car? You just fired 4 rounds at that car. I don't know how many times old girl got shot. I doubt he shot her 4 times.
She got hit 3 times in the chest. So one bullet was straight. One was somewhere else.
So he missed once, and he's shooting at a car. He can't tell the occupancy. There's a car right behind that. There definitely could be kids in that car. There could be adults. It could be
people surrounding the whole situation.
Also think of it this way: she's engaged with this other lady. Like you could damn sure shot her. Like you shooting 3 at her, but I mean they're right up. This is another reason I was saying taser. Tase the motherfucker, dog. If you tase her, then at least and taser, you got adrenaline going. Sometimes you can get through a taser. That's why I was more toward the pepper spray. I don't give a damn what you're doing. That pepper spray gonna mess you up. But also in the video, Nick, if you were listening to him, did you hear him afterwards? He sounded like he was clueless. Like he was
because he was clueless.
Yeah, he had
no clue what was going on.
Yeah, he was just like, it was just like they were, and everybody was looking at him. Like if you look at everybody in the video, they like looking at him like
all the other police officers are looking at him like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, they look at him like he's crazy. And then there's that black guy that's going off on him like, what the fuck are you doing? He shot. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just, it's the dude that when you have a get together and you have girls come over and he come over butt naked. You're like, what the hell are you doing, dog? Like, I know it's supposed to be a jump off, but you just took it to another level, dog. Like,
wait, is that me? Is that dude? I'm not that dude.
Nick, I didn't want to bring your pants out of line. But yeah, dude, and I don't know, man. And I ain't even on the color thing, dog. If this would have happened and it was a bunch of white people,
it wouldn't happen if it was a bunch of white people.
Yeah, I'd be at the same energy level though, because it's and Nick he brought up points I didn't even damn. I mean that's good breakdown because he's right. Like I do all them terms he said. I remember when we were doing our gun training, and he's definitely correct. Like my man at the end is his gun everywhere, and I'm just like, dude, put your barrel down, dog. Like. What you doing? So, yeah.
Despite the racial stuff, like we're never gonna get anywhere without a standard. Like law enforcement should be a very high standard.
You heard the AG. I'm liking the guy. You heard a boy talking about they're gonna investigate because all this stuff. I don't know how many of these shootings, but like at least 3 to 4 of them have happened in Minnesota. So he's actually investigating the whole department.
Yeah, the
AG, the attorney, is he the attorney general? Is that who he is? Or I can't remember his position.
Yeah, he's the attorney general of the United States, the Garland guy.
Yeah, yeah. He's doing an investigation over their whole police department because they've had so many of these shootings, and it's like at minimum 3. I know there's 3. Matter of fact. This one was in Columbus, but the other one, like the Chauvin one, and then they had the taser gun mix up. That was in Minnesota, and then there was one before that. I can't remember.
Oh, that was a girl, wasn't it?
Yeah, was in Minnesota too.
Well, the lady cop that got the gun and the taser confused. Yeah, she was actually training somebody that day. She was like a 26-year veteran.
And that's what I'm talking about.
You training somebody?
You're training somebody, and you pull the wrong.
You can't tell the
wrong weapon.
A half-pound taser and a 3-pound Glock.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so in her case, she's a 26-year veteran. She probably hasn't had street duty in forever. To the point where if you're out of practice with it, how do you have a weapon in front of you and it shows it on your body cam? You can easily see that it's a gun. How do you not have the presence of mind and know that you have a gun in your hand?
Because you don't, that's the thing. When you're in a high stress situation, you don't think. You
just react.
default to your training. And
Yeah.
if you don't have none, ain't no telling what you do. You shoot somebody 4 times because that's what you did at the last range shoot that you did.
Yep, you didn't practice deploying your taser first and then moving to firearms, or deploying pepper spray first and then escalating the taser and then escalating to a firearm.
Yeah.
What happened to like tackling people and disarming them? Like, I mean, I've seen that a million times. Like, I was trained to do that. Somebody has a knife, then you know how to disarm them and tackle them and take them down and control the weapon. Like,
Yeah. This is another thing when it comes to police, and that's why I like looking at a lot of media from all angles. Somebody made the best point about police officers. They were like, cops always use the "I need to get home to my family," blah blah blah, but they say people resist. I'm like, what police officer shouldn't be 100% trained on resistance? Who do you go arrest and they're just like, okay, I'm cool, just arrest me? Everybody.
me for one.
Yeah.
If you're going to arrest me, I'm getting arrested.
Yeah, but everybody, like, I mean, I'm pretty sure out of most of the time they're arresting people, they're going to be getting resistant. That's why you have all those things on you to stop resistance. That's why I give you all this crap.
I'll tell you from personal experience, a cop's threshold for resistance is incredibly small. You remember when at Cool World, the incident that happened?
Hey, that's when I first saw the knee in the back.
So this joker is telling me I'm under arrest, and he turned me around, and I'm not even like trying to like pull my hands away. I'm just trying to turn my head around to talk to the dude. And he's like, stop resisting, stop resisting. And I'm like, I'm not resisting. I'm trying to talk to you. And he said, stop resisting. Next thing I know, I got 5 Spartanburg City police officers throwing me on the ground and putting a knee in the, they didn't put it on my neck. They put it in the back of my head. But
yeah. Hey, I was
the
like,
threshold for resistance is incredibly low.
And it puts me in a bind, Nick, because I mean, it's almost an all-black club. They attack the white guy and slam him. I'm like, well, I mean,
you was over there clapping. I know.
Yeah, it's like my homeboy. I'm like, damn, it's my homeboy, but I feel good about these cops though. I'm like, at least they got the white guy. Like,
you see, the thing is I went to the cop. I said, hey, excuse me, officer, those 5 white bouncers up there are 5-on-1 jumping on one of my boys. I said, please go break that up. Go to your car, sir. Go to your car. I'm like, just go up there and break it up, and I'll be happy to go to my car. Go to your car. Go to your car. Sir, can you? Fine, I'll go to my car. And the minute I turn around to go to my car, that's when he want to arrest me.
Well, I was talking to my sister. She's an ICU nurse, and we were kind of talking about this today, and she was like, whenever the police show up, whenever I have a patient that's, a psych patient that's crazy and that's violent, he's like, when the police show up, the situation escalates 100 times. He's like, it's never the cops show up and help out. He's like, the cops show up. I got a psych patient that's cussing and everything else, and now I got 3 cops that are cussing right back at him.
Yeah.
And it's like, but aren't you a professional? Like, you're engaging in verbal conflict with a psych patient?
That's why cops are.
You don't have any training. You got no training. And then there's no standard of acceptance into the police academy. Anybody can show up. If there was a standard, half of these cops, they wouldn't make it. They wouldn't make it.
I'm not normally going to defend police, but this is where the system, as Shane was saying, is just wrong. Because first of all, why are cops doing anything with mentally unstable people? Like,
well, they're not. All they're doing is responding to the hospital. Like, the hospital says, "Hey, we've got a violent patient."
Mm-hmm.
Like, nurses aren't equipped to.
Well, I guess have somebody like why if they have so many times that they got to deal with somebody and it might be a mental thing, shouldn't there be some kind of police that's what they do? Maybe they don't have guns and all that. Maybe they're the ones that. Okay.
Oh, that would require some training, and we don't do that.
I saw another video. I saw a video where the cop, I think he dislocated it was a lady, I want to say she might have been like 70. Ooh, she was old, but she had the dementia, and she got something from Walmart, and I don't think she paid for it, and she walked out. It was like $13.
Yeah, I saw that.
You saw that? He
Mhm.
runs this chick down, and just, I mean, she's small, dude, and he just literally physically handles her, like throws her down, and she just, you can tell by listening to her that she had something going on, dude. She just kept saying, "I gotta go home. I gotta go home." She was just saying that repeatedly. So obviously, it's just a small woman, dog. And I'm like, $13 at Walmart, homie. I'm like, what? And I don't even think she got the stuff. I think they took it from her or something. But he proceeds to rough her up, gets her on the ground, got her on the car, got her arm all jacked up. You know how they push the damn, what them things called? Can't think of my or handcuffs. They push them up, so it's like it puts your arm in that awkward position.
Mhm.
So I heard that she dislocated her stuff, and I think they might be suing this dude.
And he probably got off on that. He was like telling his buddies how cool it was to rough up this
70-year-old.
87-pound woman.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like y'all just let anybody in there. Y'all just literally let anybody in there.
So we talked about this one. We talked about there was another one I didn't get I wasn't able to pull it up, but it was what's his name? I don't even think they released his name, but it was a kid that got shot in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so just like they were saying, if old girl wasn't recording when it came to this Chauvin, whatever the hell his name is, y'all realize in his report, he said something like, "Oh boy had like a medical issue." He never said he had his knee anywhere on him or nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So like if she would have never had that video, this fool probably would have got off just off his report alone.
No doubt
So,
about it.
the body cam pulled up in Chicago with this kid. They said he had a gun. He was with an older kid or something. It's like 2, 3 in the morning. And they show the body cam right before they shoot this dude, little kid, hands in the air. I think the gun was on the ground or something, and they shoot him anyway. And I'm like, did y'all see, like, were y'all not looking at him? Like, if he had, my thing is when your hands are up, do they think it's like one of those movies where you can reach into another dimension and pull out something? Like, what do they think they're reaching for? They ain't got nothing in their damn hands. So why are we shooting? I don't get why. Like, even if you throw the gun, you threw the gun down, and you put your hands up, and they literally show the still shot of this kid with his hands up, and then they proceed to shoot him right after that. And of course,
that's what I don't get. And I don't get how anybody can say that's justifiable if his hands palm facing you are up.
Yeah.
You can clearly see there's nothing in your hand, yet you pull the trigger. And you know what probably really happened is the Joker was scared out of his damn mind.
Yeah, he did.
Gripping the shit out of that trigger finger and squeeze the trigger.
Yeah, and he popped off around.
Like it's a justifiable shooting instead of I was scared and accidentally pulled the trigger.
I mean, I think that happens a lot. Like, and you know this as well as anyone. You don't get good at shooting or trigger discipline or muzzle discipline. You don't get good at those things without doing them. You have to do them. I worked with Marines. I was a corpsman. I worked with some of the dumbest people. The Marine Corps exposes you to a different level of stupidity. I'm talking about a completely different level. Like I had Marines that would take their mattresses, stack them all up on the first floor, on the ground floor of a 3-story barracks room, and jump off the 3rd story because they were bored. And then I got to look at your, femur fracture and, your tib-fib fracture. I mean, the dumbest guys you've ever seen. I'll get my camera back up. But one thing those guys is trained. So if we're kicking down doors and we're going to get bad guys, those guys know it don't matter how stupid they are. They know exactly what they're supposed to do. They show up and they do exactly what they're supposed to do. Why? Because they literally train all day, every day, all day, every day. So, I mean, you can train out stupidity. You can train out you can be racist. We got racist people in the military. I'm positive. These same dudes join the military. You don't see a whole bunch of racial shit going on in the military because you get that shit gets trained out of you. That's not your default. You might be racist when you go home, but when you're doing your job or working at capacity, you default to training.
That's one thing about the military, though. Your life sometimes depends on your training with the people with you. You ain't got time to be damn out do all that stupid stuff.
Yeah, that's true. You don't have time to be racist.
Yeah, but this was this. I think this was a picture right before. This is from the day of Chauvin.
And I saw some legal hack today talking about trying to dissect this right here and figure out if he had already pulled the trigger by the time this still was taken.
Pull the trigger by the time what are they talking about? He don't have nothing.
So they're saying that the shutter speed is faster than the
bullet
feet per second bullet that he just fired.
Yeah.
Come on.
Sounds good to me.
And there's one. This is one that I'm still waiting to get more information on what's going to happen. And there's another one that happened in North Carolina. I think it's in a city called Elizabethtown or something like that.
Sounds like a sundown town. Sounds like one of them sundown towns.
But apparently they were going to somebody's house to serve a warrant. The dude, and this is for like a possession charge for like marijuana. Dude jumps in. Like I said, we don't have all the information yet. We're going off. So this is just me speculating on what I heard. But they were saying that he jumped in the car and pretty much just dipped. When they came up to serve the warrant, he jumped in his car and rode out. They shoot up the car and killed him. Mind you, they were serving a warrant for like a marijuana possession or something. So
not a felony charge, a minor possession charge, and they shoot up the car.
Obviously, you got to kill him. I mean, what's he doing? He's running from the police. So my thing is, as a cop,
watch too much damn TV.
Yeah, as a cop, do you have how do you not have the common sense to realize I'm coming over here to pick up a dude for selling weed, but obviously if he runs, I got to kill him.
It's not legal to kill somebody because they're running away from you.
Dude, that's obviously when you shouldn't be. I mean, that means literally his back was turned, like that Atlanta crap. Same shit. He running away. You shoot him in the back, dude. Like,
something that actually just happened here in Atlanta, and it's kind of backwards to the normal scenario, but it happened in DeKalb County, so that might kind of explain it. So, white dude live in DeKalb County, and an older black guy jumps over the fence and comes into his yard, and the white guy is sitting in his house, and he sees it on the security cameras. So he goes and grabs his gun and goes to investigate and opens the back door and sees the guy in his yard. And the guy starts, I think they were like wrestling for a second. And then the guy gets away from him and starts running away. And the white guy shoots him while he's running away, trying to get over the fence to get out of the yard. And, the white guy, homeowner, calls the cops. Cops charge that dude with murder because he shot the guy while he was running away.
And it's probably one of the same cops that shot the other guy at Wendy's when he was running away.
That was APD. This is DeKalb County.
Yeah, but it's just that type of you're convicting people and charging them with murder on some crap that you would get off on.
And that's true. They wouldn't have been. Nobody would have blinked an eye if one of them cops shot him.
Well, you know what's crazy about that? What is it called? The castle law, or it's something for like concealed carry and home ownership. If you have a gun, if the person's running away from you, and they tell us this when I got my carry permit, they're like, you don't shoot the person that's running away from your house.
Mm-hmm.
If he's running away, you do not shoot him. If you shoot him, you drag him back inside. Like, you don't shoot him running out the door or shoot him outside of your house. You only shoot him if he's engaging you. And that's a law.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a statute that holds homeowners accountable for what they do with their weapon. There is no statute or standard that holds law enforcement officers accountable for making bad decisions.
Mm-hmm.
There's not one.
That qualified gets them off every time.
Well, they don't. I think that comes into play. It also comes into play that nobody's ever trained this person to do this. If you've trained somebody to do something, you can, like we were talking about the training jackets, you can look at that and say, no. On this date, you signed this training jacket saying that you understand what the rules are, you understand how to comply, and that you're going to do that. So then when you don't have, there's no excuse. There's no, oh, I didn't know, or I didn't think about. That doesn't work. That never worked with me in the military. They pulled up that training record quick. No, because I mean, last month you did the training, you signed it, so you knew.
That's the issue, though, is that the military is held to a much higher standard with the use of force than the police are, and
that's the problem.
You got Marines whose whole entire job it is to kill people. You got Army infantry. That is their pretty much sole entire job is to kill people. But there's rules to that, and there's training that goes with that.
Well,
and accountability. Cops don't have that.
That was one of them things with the military that I was so amazed at. Like, you have an idea what the military is before you get into it. But I was telling a lot of my co-workers, guys that thought about military, I was like, dude, one thing about the military, they're gonna have a training for everything you do. Like everything you do, they're gonna have you're gonna be doing everything is gonna have a list where you don't even gotta think for yourself. Like you're gonna be trained so much. As soon as you hear a certain sound, you know exactly what to do.
And that's
you know exactly what to do.
That's what's missing from law enforcement.
And not only that, to Nick's point, you have to acknowledge receipt of that training.
Yeah,
you got to sign it. And you signing your ass away when you sign that. Because now when you fuck up,
they can pull that thing right up.
Here it is.
You know, another thing they said, and like I said, when I was doing my video roles, one guy was like, what they need to start doing, it's a shame you got to go this route, but literally threaten these people's pension. Like, say if you get caught with
threatening freedom.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing. It's like they feel like they're gonna get off, but if you have something binding when it comes to their money, why do you think that lady and that chief resigned when she forgot which one was a taser, which one was a gun? They just went on and were like, okay, I'm gonna retire because they know they're getting their pension. So they just like, okay, so this is my punishment. I killed this man who got a kid, and we were stopping him for a traffic violation, but I'm gonna retire, and that's my punishment.
And see,
because you still
notice they use the word resign instead of retire.
Yeah,
forced retirement, resign.
Yeah, and it was her, and it was the chief of police, and the other one. They just, but they're getting a pension, so basically they're gonna get the same amount of money because I think she was a 26-year veteran. And I'm pretty sure if the dude made chief of police, I'm pretty sure he was 30 plus.
Yeah, 30 plus at least.
Yeah. So he probably got full retirement, a full pension. But this dude is still dead, dog. Like you accidentally killed someone, and what are you doing for him? Like what? That's the thing, and that's why I couldn't get so happy about this Chauvin crap or whatever, because I mean my man's still dead, dog. I can't bring him back.
Y'all remember that movie Lone Survivor?
I do remember that movie. That was a sniper. Is that a sniper one?
No, that's the one where they are in Afghanistan and like the whole team gets killed but one because they release these 3 hostages.
Let me pull that up. I think I know I've seen it. I'm just trying to remember.
It's with Mark Wahlberg.
Okay, yeah, I do remember that one. Yeah.
But the whole premise of the movie is these 3 civilians walk up on them, and they're on a mission, and this is 4 Navy SEALs, okay, and they get walked up on, so they have to detain these 3 and decide what they're going to do with them, okay, because they're doing a covert mission to kill or capture. So they're doing a covert mission to kill this guy, and these 3 dudes walk up. So they got to detain him, and their conversation is, what are we going to do with him? We can't kill him because it'll be on CNN and we'll be in Leavenworth. These are Navy SEALs, okay? And they are in Afghanistan. And the contrast, how Navy SEALs have to think, I can't pull this trigger and kill this guy in Afghanistan because CNN finds out about it, and I'll go to Leavenworth. Yet you have police officers that can kill U.S. citizens in the United States, and they don't have to worry about nothing.
Not a damn thing.
You don't have to worry about nothing. They're not held to a standard.
This always is going to be like this. I feel like when people are in comfortable positions, nothing changes. And it's not me trying to say we need to have some national riot and tear shit up, but they're going to push this until something happens, and people are going to get to that Rodney King level, and they go, it's just going to be, because they better realize, I don't care how many cops you got, there's more citizens, there's more black people, there's more community, and if everybody decides to flip, you making laws where it's you're trying to make it where people can run over people that protest and all these stupid rules, and you're stopping voting and all this crap. I'm telling you, it's gonna get to a point where it's gonna get chaotic, and everybody gonna be like, "Oh, we don't know what happened." And I'm like, "All right, well, it's been something y'all need to change for a long time, and now you're gonna be forced to change it." And that's just gonna be is what it is. They keep playing with it. They keep trying to slide in little money and don't want to change nothing. Why? My thing is, why wouldn't you want to have police reform? Why wouldn't you make new standards for these dudes? I mean, does it take them to shoot somebody in your family?
It costs a whole lot of money.
I mean, we blow money.
You see what the military budget is.
Yeah.
And I mean, people say all that training and stuff. That stuff costs money. That stuff costs time and money.
See, I'm gonna give y'all another statistic. One of the biggest farces in the whole criminal justice system is that I'm not going to say police work is not a dangerous job. It obviously is.
Dude, it's not even in the top 10.
But the number of police officers that are killed in the line of duty is less than 100 per year on average since 2000. For the last 20 years, it's less than 100. The number of people that police officers kill in the line of duty, 12 to 1,500 on an annual basis. And that less than 100 cops killed in the line of duty is in the entire country.
And that's due to traffic incidents and
that's homicides.
Okay.
In the line of duty. Felonious homicides, I guess is what they call it. So actual people trying to kill cops. That doesn't include I died of a heart attack because I was, fat and out of shape.
But see, that's a good statistic, because if you bring it up to somebody that wants to debate you and you throw that at them, they'll just say, "Oh, that's fake." You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. When it comes,
they can look it up in the FBI database. That's
It's amazing when you bring out numbers and you just shut people up. You're like, man, so in other words, you freestyling. You don't even know the world from your city that you live in, unless you actively try to find out about the world. You don't know everybody's situation. You can't comment on black, minority. You can't comment on it because you don't live it. I mean, you can't. So like everybody that's safe in their little plush house, wherever they live at, you know what I'm saying? They're not living the same life of everybody else. But I don't know. But that's a good talk. This was one of those things where this was a lot that happened. I mean, mind you, everything we talked about happened I think within the last 3 or 4 days, dude. We just talked about maybe 4 shootings, a trial. All this happened in a matter of 4. As soon as we opened the country up a little bit, now we back to shootings as normal. We're back to the killing business. We're back to, I think they said there's already been in this year, there's already been over 100 mass shootings, and they define mass shootings as more than 4 to 5 people that died. So I think they even escalated that. There's been so many mass shootings that statistic I think they say they're going to raise it up to like 8 people to try to keep it.
Just to skew the numbers, huh?
I'm like,
just to offset this a little bit.
yeah.
Let's make it not look so bad. We need to.
I mean, they're trying to get rid of the guns. That's for sure.
To me, a mass shooting should be more than one person.
Well, in the rest of the world, a mass shooting is more than 5 people. It's not a mass shooting. Just like a mass casualty. A mass casualty is anything that overwhelms the current medical facilities. That's what a mass casualty is. So how is a mass shooting 5 people?
Yeah. I had what's the name? I forgot who tried to debate me. It's when I was on Don's station, and somebody was, the gun conversation is a conversation. I was talking about the countries where you can't have guns, and I was like, dude, you mean to tell me? And this dude was arguing me down that if you didn't have a gun and you can only have a knife, you can have a mass stabbing to the effect that you could do mass shooting. And this fool was like, he would tell me about all these movies, this and that. I said, dude,
it's not the movies.
I said, listen to what I'm saying. These other countries don't have this because they have stricter rules. It's not the fact that you can't get a gun. You just got to go through some actual things to get it.
Why do you say that? I think London or France did have a mass stabbing a couple of years
ago. China, London, and France have all had. I mean, the death toll wasn't,
the death toll was like 2 people died, and
some dude ran through a crowded subway and was just stabbing everybody, just stabbing people.
This isn't funny, y'all. It's not funny.
But I'm just saying that there is a contrast between a mass stabbing. I said, dude, if I got a gun is made to kill. Don't give a damn what you think about a gun. A gun. If somebody busts in your house, you ain't gonna look at the gun and be like, oh, let me go get the knife. You gonna go grab the gun because you might have to shoot a motherfucker. Because if you kill them, you gonna wound them or something to get them the hell out. You ain't gonna try to stab them. So I'm like, if you got an excess amount of guns compared to a place that got an excess amount of knives, it ain't equal. We can go to the place with all the knives and run right through them because we got guns. I said it's not. It's different levels of lethal force, dude. Like, just stop it. You wanted to argue me down about it. And I was like, oh my God, man. I said, it's just. You can't, as Shane has brought up statistics, and as Nick, when you brought up the training, those are factual things, dog. They're facts. It just is what it is. You can't pull up the numbers in other countries that don't have the mass weaponry that we have and look at how many homicides they have, which is a fraction. I mean, a small percentage.
Unless you're talking about like South America or like Mexico.
Yeah,
you get caught with a gun in Mexico, you are going to jail for a long time. But it's a whole lot of guns in Mexico.
And that's what I'm saying. I was just so obviously. So my thing is, I believe in some. We need to do something about it. I hate responses that don't have. It's so easy to say, well, everybody got a gun or everybody does and all that. It's so easy to say that. It's not the fact of me telling you that you shouldn't have a gun. But we don't believe that there needs to be some kind of we have to have everything in the world to be able to drive a car. But I can be in South Carolina with a gun in my house and not need any registration for it, nothing. I actually reached out to see what I would need, and they were like, oh, yeah, we can't tell you nothing. Just because I bought it from a friend. He had bought a gun show, and he had it in a suitcase, had all the clips, everything. I bought it from him, and I was like, dude, do I need something? And he was like, I don't think so. And I had a SLED officer literally a week after I bought the gun from him, just happened to be a SLED officer at my job. And I asked her, I was like, okay, I just got a gun that I bought from somewhere. She had just moved from New York. And she was like, well, in New York, you got to have blah, 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 blah. She was like, what do I need in South Carolina? She was like, I don't think you need anything. I was like, I said, I don't need nothing. And she was like, well, you said you bought it from someone that bought it from a gun show. He was like, there's no documentation needed. She was
and gun shows are a loophole in a lot of states. Any states that allow gun shows, you can buy at a gun show
with an ID,
state license.
You just need an ID. Give you
like you said, it don't even have to be an ID from that state. Whereas if you're going to buy a handgun from a retailer, you have to be a resident of the state that you're buying the handgun from.
You have to go through a background check and all of that stuff. Buying through a gun show or buying through like Arms List or something online, You don't have to have nothing.
So just to be on paper, I'm almost wanting I'm about to buy my wife a gun.
There's nothing that's not going to put you on any kind of paper.
No, they just run a background check on you.
There's no database that has a registry of all the weapons the government doesn't have that. So that doesn't exist. So the only thing they're doing is doing a background check and making sure that you meet the qualifications to have one. Like I get denied every single time, and then they go through and do the appeal and they say, oh, you're good. And it has to do with my security clearance every single time. So I go buy a gun. I don't get to take it home that day.
Is it because like I had a clearance, but it's not active? Obviously, is yours still active?
No, it had to do with my clearance being
of his security clearance, probably.
Huh?
It might be the level of the security clearance.
Well, we had the same level. We both had secret.
I got secret, and I don't ever get flagged for.
Well, my clearance got denied. And then it got reinstated. So it flags it and I get denied, and then they say, hey, you're good. And I come back and get my gun in 3 days. So I know there is a system in place that checks for people, but everybody doesn't use that. My issue with getting super, super strict on legal firearms is that you drive up the market for illegal firearms. If I want to get a gun, and I know I can go buy an AR-15 and I'm not going to get any hassle, right? AR-15 shoots every time you pull the trigger. So, I mean, a good shooter, you're shooting 30, 40, rounds a minute accurately. If I can't get that, I can go and get a real M4, a real assault rifle that shoots over 100 rounds a minute. I mean, if both of them are going to be illegal, I want the one that can get down, that can go full automatic. And so you're driving a market for that.
But the rules on even when you're staying in regulation, this is off topic, but I'm just saying, the guy that shot up all those people in was it Boulder, Colorado, whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the gun? This gun was labeled as a pistol. I need y'all to try to pull up what
it's
that
an AR pistol.
Yeah, it's an AR pistol.
It's a shorter base. Like it's a shorter muzzle.
The damn thing was, but they said it was legal because it was a pistol. If you look at this gun and didn't know what it was, you'd be like, motherfucker, I use that in Call of Duty. That's an SMG. I know what this is. I'm like, this thing.
This is semi-automatic.
Difference. What you're saying is what it looks like, and this is the problem that I have with people. And I'm not talking about you, but people who are ignorant of guns in general. What it looks like ain't gonna do you no good on the battlefield or in combat. If you take AR-15s to combat, you will be killed by guns that are 40 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, like an AK-47 will run right through a force with AR-15s because they're actual assault rifles. They're fully automatic. They put serious rounds downrange, and you got a semi-automatic. You got World War II technology. You got World War I technology. So yes, it looks dangerous, but
I was like, what the
we
hell?
can't regulate looks. Like you're not regulating looks. An AR-15 looks like an assault rifle.
Well, I think his pistol had it wasn't a semi. I want to say I gotta pull it back up. I think he had some.
No, it was a semi-automatic.
It was semi-automatic.
I don't know. It wasn't fully
automatic. He killed like 8 people.
If he walked into a movie theater with a fully automatic weapon system, you'd be looking at way more than 8 people dead.
Well, no, he went to a grocery store. This dude was just at a regular grocery store.
Oh, okay, yeah. Even though like a fully automatic weapon system, you can dump a magazine in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And 2 seconds, and you got to reload it. You just shot 30 rounds in 2 seconds. Like,
and this is happening all the time now. Like, it's to the point that it don't matter where you go nowadays. You running a risk of this crap. Like these motherfuckers just walking in somewhere and bucking.
I mean, until I carry, and I carry everywhere. Until they figure something out, I'd rather. And this is one of my issues. I don't trust the police to protect me. Okay, you can look at these videos and tell. I was telling my sister, okay, this is a scenario. I'm laying in my bed and somebody breaks into my house. First thought, do I call the police? My answer is hell no, I don't call the police because I'm about to engage this person that's running up in my house. Right? I'm about to have a rifle on this person running up in my house. I don't need the police to show up and shoot my ass thinking that I'm the one breaking into my own house. Like the dude in his boxers with the gun is not the dude that broke into the house. Like that's not the dude. But you got these.
If we're looking at the split screen here, I feel like you'll be safer than me. I'll pull out the damn gun and
I've seen this 100 times. He hung up pictures of his family all
and Dave Chappelle shit. Yeah, let's sprinkle a cocoa. Yeah, but I mean that's what I'm saying, dude. Like
I don't trust them.
I think I can actually, just for being a veteran, they got some places up here where you can automatically get the carry. So I've been debating on doing it. But
you found one, let me know. Because I got to come to South Carolina to get a concealed carry because I got a South Carolina license.
I hit my homeboy up because he the one told me about it. He said, dude, all you need is your veteran ID or active military ID. And I don't even think you got to do a white collar.
Yeah, I didn't have to take the course or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I took a course anyway. And now in Tennessee, you don't even have to take the course. Like you just take you don't have to shoot at all. You just take the little course, like a test, and you don't have to shoot at all, which is, I was like, I mean, well, if the cops don't have to, I guess we shouldn't have to either. I mean,
what direction do you point your weapon?
I mean, you literally have people looking down the barrel. Is there something in there? Yeah, motherfucker, like the end of your life is coming out of that thing.
Something in there, you better be out of there. Oh, shit.
Yo, I've been reading this book. I don't know if you can see it.
Originals.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good book. I was reading it this morning, and like something that I read in here made me think about this topic that we were talking about. Let me see if I can find it. But it was this. Okay, so this filmmaker, her name is Frances Ford Coppola. I have to look her up.
Right.
But she said, the way to come to power is not always to merely challenge the establishment, but first to make a place in it and then challenge and double cross the establishment. And it made me really think about how we're trying to affect change and without becoming a part of the process. So we're trying to stand on the sidelines and say the police force needs to change, the government needs to change, without taking a rightful place in any of those institutions. And that makes sense to me. The only way to really change the government is to become a part of it and change it from the inside. You can't just scream at a bunch of old white dudes and tell them all of a sudden you got to care about colored people. Like that's never going to happen. And that's what we've been doing for the last 50, 60 years. And it don't work. That shit doesn't work. But doing that means you got to be accountable now. Like you can't just go up in the Senate without an education. Like you can't get some of these jobs that give you influence without going to school and getting some knowledge, without changing your lifestyle. So it's not easy if you want to see results.
I think what they're doing now is trying to attack money, because that's what everything's about nowadays is money. So like with the athletes saying they ain't gonna play, like they'll get mad about that because that's money. When you got the corporations that'll be like, when they took the game from Atlanta, you know, they were pissed off about it. That made it really bad about that shit. But that's money. They took however much money that was, they took it away from Atlanta. And I mean, and I agree with that. Like you gotta get in the systems. I mean, it seems like the House is doing a better job in a way. It's that damn Senate that we're having issues with. Yeah, we gotta get in that shit. So that's a conversation. We definitely had that one at another point. I'm down for that one. But whenever Nick gets ready to have us in, Shane, maybe he'll have us do a conversation with him.
I know, right?
Well, I'm gonna do my video tomorrow, the topic is white privilege, so that's what I'm going to start with. I know you do. I think honestly, I think it'll be a good. I want you guys to be on it because we all have pretty different, contrasting ideas about how things work, and based on our experience and life experience. So my channel is not about converting anybody. I don't want to convert anybody. I just want to understand how you think. And I think through diversity of dialogue, you can gain better understanding. So that's what the goal is. I'm not trying to change anybody's mind. So.
Gotcha. Well, I'm down. I'm going to end this thing.
Y'all are all froze.
Everybody froze. I'm not froze.
I'm not froze either.
Yeah, that's your
pixelated.
Yeah, that's that Tennessee. Let me go ahead.
That 2G internet.